Hey guys, welcome to my IGTV. This video would be about nail prep. I put a poll on my Insta story and asked you guys if you guys wanted to see how I prep the nails before an acrylic service. And here it is. Here's the video. As you can see right now, what I'm doing right now is just basically filing down the nails. I do file down the sidewalls and the free edge just to make sure that the nails are straight and properly, they are even pretty much, just so that when the nails do grow out underneath your full sets, that they will grow out evenly. So I like to do this part. I do take the time to do this part, and also with my prep, it does take me about 15 minutes because I'm really adamant about my prep, and I want to make sure that all the nails are, prepped properly, just so that we won't have any lifting. Hope that makes sense. So these files are clean. I do use new files for every client, so therefore don't fret, these are clean files. What I like to do with the files is that I like to use one file for the whole service with one client, and also too, I do also change my sanding band as well, so that's very important. So I change my sanding bands, and I also change the file as well. So like I said again, I'm basically filing down her sidewalls and her free edge just to make sure that they're filed down evenly. And then here comes, after I do that, then here comes my favorite part. And normally what I would like to do when it comes to prep as well, sometimes I give my clients a mini manicure depending how I see how their cuticles are growing out. If my client does have a lot of cuticles, I would also take the extra time to actually give them a mini manicure. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a manicure where they'll have to soak their hands in a bowl. So what I usually do is use my e-file bits that's geared towards the cuticles. So I'll take some time and do that part just to make sure that the cuticles are gone, because if you do not get rid of the cuticles, you would have a tendency to have the nail lift, or it'll just basically just pop off. So over here you're gonna see that I'm basically gonna just start taking off the shine and actually pushing back the cuticles. And one more thing too, with my sanding band, usually I use that sanding band to also push back the cuticles and clean the cuticle area and take out the shine. And eventually over time you will get skilled enough to know how to do that part, but like over time, that's what I do normally with my acrylic full sets. I just use my sanding band just basically just to push back the cuticles and to kind of like give it a clean, and also to take out the shine off the nail. And I cannot stress it enough, this is like my favorite part. I love using my e-file. So I normally use my e-files for manicures, for pedicures sometimes. If it's really like a lot of cuticle, I sometimes go in and use my e-file for that too. Just a little thing I just want you guys to know. So as you can see, I'm just basically taking off the shine. Just basically using the sanding band to do that. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I do use like a zigzag motion. So you'll see how I start from one side and then and then go to the other with the e-file. With the sanding band. If you guys want to know how to do that, I can go into more details how I do that, but that's how I usually do it. And usually, like, my clients, they don't feel no burning, they don't feel any type of heat sensation on their nails, so that's a good way to basically just remove the shine off the natural nail. So usually after I do this part, I'm just finishing up here. I believe I did both hands. So this part, so I do save the sanding. So like I said, I do use a sanding band for one, like I do switch it out, and I use the same sanding band throughout the whole service if needed. Now this is my go-to. I definitely would recommend that you guys get the Young Nail Swipe to basically help clean off in the nail plate. And if you can't get that, you can definitely use alcohol as well. That's another way. I normally just use Swipe because what I have, and I actually really love it. And it's really good because it does clean the surface of the nail and also dehydrates it as well. So I normally use that and also my pH bond and my primer. So that's like another like assurance of your nails basically not popping off. So right here I'm just placing the tips on the nail. You do that on all 10 fingers. If you guys want to continue to stay to watch this part, you can. But normally, once I do this part, once all the tips are placed on the nail, this is where I will put the pH bond, and after the pH bond, I'll put my primer. So whatever primer that you have or pH bond, just basically use that, and then you should be all set. And then with my primer, I actually put it on twice. So whatever primer you have currently, if you are having issues with like your clients' nails lifting, basically try this method that I use, and hopefully it works out. Again, you basically just going from the beginning, you basically just take off the shine, you basically clean off the nail plate with either swipe or alcohol, and then once you apply your nail tips, once you've basically just sand it, use your sanding band to basically blend the tips. After that, you would use your pH bond, and after your pH bond, you use your primer that you currently have twice. So once you put on the primer after the pH bond, you put it one time on all 10 fingers, let that dry, and then again before you put on the acrylic, then that's when you should put your primer, and do it one hand at a time. So before you put your, like say first, if you're starting on your right hand, you put the second coat of primer on there, and then you put on the acrylic, and then when you do your second, when you do your left hand, you do the same thing where you just, before you apply the acrylic, you put on the primer. Okay, so basically I'm gonna let you guys finish watching here. I don't know how long I've recorded this for, but you guys could basically just watch what I'm doing. And again, if you guys have any questions, you can always DM me with your questions, but I just thought I would share like how I prep my nails. It's very simple, very easy. I don't use a whole ton of products, honestly. I just use swipe, my pH bond, and primer. Like if you use those three things, in my opinion, you won't have any issues with your clients lifting. Okay, so again, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send me a DM, and I'll answer your questions as best as you can. But if it relates to anything regarding to prep, I could definitely answer that question for you. Other than that, you guys have a great evening, and you guys could continue watching the video. Take care.